Shalom Akim, Kahalayim La Yahba Shim Yahshua Bashan Hakudash, and double honors to the great Muslim apostles, Thali Yahshua, for the strength in order to make this video, and Yaratazah they find it edifying and exhorting too. So this one's a recent video that Apostle Tahar made on, as he named it, can the MOTB, the mark of the beast, make you do things you don't want to do? Of course, I'm going to play part of the video. And of course, the short answer to this is yes. Those of you, Akim, that may be into sci-fi movies will be able to understand why. So Yaratazah could be a short video, maybe slightly long, but the full video is on his channel. I'm gonna just talk on a little portion on it though. So just to get things started, I'm gonna play a little bit, then Yaratazah, I'm gonna bring some precepts.
Shalom, real quick, give it all praise to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahshua, Bashem, Rakakudah, Shalom to the 144,000, and the rest of the elect out there, Shalom to you all. I'm going to title this video, Can the MOTB make you do things, or make you do things that you don't want to do? So this is a video that was put up by GMS, Babylon is Falling. The name of the title of the video is Ukrainian Girl Killer. The Carlos Brown Jr. claims he was microchipped. And so basically he talks to his sister. He talks to his sister after he gets locked up for this act. The news said that he was in and out of, arrested several times, but he was also in and out of mental wards. So he's telling his sister over the phone, his sister, that, by the way, the elder speaking is Yakanan.
Which is really John in the ancient Hebrew. Yachanan, I think it's one of the few forms of saying John. I think there's also Yawachanan, that's another version, and Yachanan. Those are the two that I'm aware of right now, but they both mean John in the ancient Hebrew.
If I'm not saying it right, because you have Yohanan, then you have Yakanan. So he's telling his sister that he didn't say microchip. He said the material that's in me made me do what I had to do. So the sister tells him that the woman's from Ukraine. So he says, well, they wanted her to be taken out, and they used me. This goes into the whole, Manchurian Candidate. You had original movie Manchurian Candidate, starring Frank Sinatra. He's an singer and an actor. And he had a remake. Denzel was the main character, and he was supposed to assassinate the president or the vice president. I saw the movie, but it was many, many years ago. But in that movie, the character that Denzel played, the Manchurian Candidate, he actually had a chip in him, and they showed you that in the movie. You might be able to get it on YouTube. Anyway, so when he goes to shoot the president or the vice president, he's under mind control. They call it, what do they call it in England? There's a term in England, comes out of England. It'll come back to me. Anyway, so you see her he gets up, he's sitting there, he gets up, you know, pops her a couple of times in the neck, and she should have been more aware. That's what you get for sitting next to black people, sitting next to white people. I'm just saying that's what Esau does. Well, he's a nigga. I'm not. Well, maybe you should think that way. And if you watch the video, he gets up, takes out a knife. Looks like a pocket knife. So I don't even think the knife was more than 4 inches long. And pops her a couple of times. She grabs her face. She slumps over, and you see a puddle of blood. I don't know if that was CGI or whatever. Because now you can't. You got CGI. You got some of these commercials where you have a woman talking, you think it's a woman, it's actually a CGI or AI. So we don't know what's really going on. But anyway, he says that the material in me made me do it. Somebody wanted her taken out, and somehow they used the material that's in him, which we call the microchip. Because like I said, he's in.
And also with these, with everything that's going on, especially these, I think we should call them activists, with whatever political ideology that they're under, certain tweets that could trigger Esau Edom. He would intend to actually target certain individuals, through these people. Of course, the main focus is this guy here. Hold on. As you can see from the name, so the Carlos Brown Jr. He's the video will play, but the point is they can target activists just based off of what they regularly tweet. If Esau doesn't like that, then you can pretty much just send the person to the spirit realm, in other words. Slay him. So really, that's just the point, because she could easily be one of those activists as well. Could be. Not that I know anything. It's just a speculative proposition of what the incentive could have been for why Esau made this Jake, which really he's a pawn, PAWN, a tool for Esau to use in order to target certain individuals, just like in the movies. Another movie that comes to mind is Upgrade. That's a movie where a person has a disability, they can't walk, quadriplegic. They have a chip that's attached to their spine. I haven't watched it, but I've seen clips. It's attached to their spine, and then they're able to gain abilities such as being able to fight and very accurately defending themselves, in a very robotic manner. And I think it came to the point where he couldn't really control it anymore. So yeah, man, it's a similar situation here. And that was linked to his spine, how much more the brain, which controls everything.
And they said that on the news. He's been in and out of the prison system, and he's been in and out of mental wards. So they're blaming on him. They're trying to push the narrative that he's a racist. Well, no, he's a crazy person. This happens to be so-called black. He's a Manchurian candidate. So let's listen.
All right, you hear for yourself.
So you said something in your body did what?
This is his sister talking to him in lockup, whether it's a mental ward or actual prison.
What?
Nah, the material, put it like this, the material using my body is stab related.
The material used in my body. Let me bring that back. This is fair use, fair use.
Right? You hear for
So they put something in his body. If they put a chip in his brain, chip in his hand, I don't know that the chip sounds far-fetched. If they put a chip in your hand, that's gonna make you do things. But I can believe putting a chip in your brain can make you do things. Maybe talk, tell you get up, stab this person, do this, do that, do the other. Let's listen to that again.
yourself.
So you said something in your body did what?
Nah, the material, put it like this, the material using my body to stab.
The material used in my body, stab the lady.
Yeah, man. Esau, this is the part where Esau's gonna be able to deceive the masses. This is the part where the masses, most of them will be blind to the consequences of, or I should say, the cons of putting that MOTB, within the brain, aka Neuralink, or within the hand as well. DARPA is another military-based company working on that too. So this is Revelation 19 and 20. And the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. And by the way, the false prophet really just represents the Roman Catholic Church. But in this case, really the focus is on that deception from Esau's system, Esau, Edom, telling people to take the mark. Hence why I'm bringing out this precept. So with which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast, again the implant, and them that worshipped his image, these both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. That lake of fire burning with brimstone is referring to the nuclear missiles which will strike America. And all of those who receive the mark, they will have to suffer that cleansing, which fire is a cleansing agent, and fully be destroyed. So the point, it says, which he deceived them that had received the mark of the beast. And yeah, because the thing is, people will think that, it's going to be some kind of utopia, some technological advanced society. No, that transhumanism stuff is disagreement with Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Just by the law alone, we know it ought not to be done. Let's see, it's Leviticus 19, verse 28. Even in the law, it says don't make any cuttings in your flesh. So Leviticus 19 and 28, you shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you. I am the Lord Yahweh. So of course, it's a direct command for us to not make any cuttings in your flesh, man. And of course, in order to take the MOTB, that requires a cutting. Right, so where was that? Yeah, Revelation 19:10. These were both cast alive into the lake of fire burning with brimstone, man. I remember Esau, as it says within the scriptures, Esau's wiser than Daniel, so he's gonna be using multiple tactics to get to people. Words smoother than butter. If I'll get that one as well. Psalm 55 up there. 55. Because he'll use those persuasive techniques to get people. The gullible. So Psalms 55 and 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. So this chip implant ain't for the benefit of anyone. It's for Esau to be like the Most High. Because remember, he's referred to as a cunning hunter. Genesis 25 and 27. The boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man dwelling in tents. Let's get into the root word for cunning. It says Yada.
Strong's H 3045. Yadah.
Which of course course, it's in the modern Hebrew. But it means to know. It says it learn to know, to perceive and see, find out and discern, discriminate, distinguish, know by experience, recognize, admit, acknowledge. Let's see. But yeah, it says to know, to be known, to be perceived, instructed. And if you ask the question, okay, what does Esau want to know then? He wants to know the inward thought of every man. You know, he wants to control the vessel. He wants to know, all right, that he wants to have the certainty that he is a power. You know, going back to Isaiah 14 and verse 14. He wants to be like the Most High. So being a cunning hunter and his nature, he will use snares to get his prey. And that prey is really representative of, first of all, Jake being the enemy onto Esau, because of course we are enemies. And he will lay snares onto Jake so that he's able to get his profit from Jake, man, which is really just to control Jake. That's really what it comes down to. So let me get this precept and then I'm going to let the video play. Isaiah 47 and verse 10. Isaiah 47 and 10. For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, none seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am and none else besides me. So of course that guy there of whom was claiming, which really, from the way it looks, he has a implant in his brain, man. I was reading the comment section from the video from Apostle Tahar, and then one of them said, be careful of letting anesthetics, if that's even a way to say it, anesthetics be put into you, because when you're unaware, you're unconscious, there could be different things that they do to your body, of course, in these hospitals and certain places. As Apostle Tahar mentioned, he was an individual of whom was going in and out of mental wards and prison systems. So of course, in those systems, Esau tends to experiment with Jake as well. All right, so let's get back to the video. Remember, never trust thine enemy, as it says in Ecclesiasticus 12 and 10. There's a reason why the scriptures say that. There's a reason why Yahweh Shem Yahshai tells us that.
Stab the lady.
And so she just got stabbed.
Yeah. That's not me. I'm talking about just for no reason. But since they did that, now they got to investigate the material in my body you're supposed to.
Now they got to investigate the material in my body. So they put something in his body. And I don't think it's a microchip in the hand. I think they open his brain up, put him to sleep, put a chip in him, and he's aware of it.
Since they want to do all that, now they got to investigate.
It's funny because she's from the Ukraine. She's from Russia, and they had a war going on against the United States. So I'm just trying to understand, out of all people, why her?
It ain't. I don't
Hold on.
have nothing. They just lashed out on her. That's what happened.
They just lashed out on him, meaning the thing that's inside of him, we take it to be the chip. And like I said, it's got to be in his brain, not in his hand. I don't believe a chip in your hand is going to go to make you do things. I believe a chip in your brain, wired to your brain, can talk to you and make you do things.
I believe also, especially during that time of the CV testing as well, that's also one form. I think I've seen it in a movie somewhere. I can't recall the movie. But they can implant it by really breaking through that blood-brain barrier up the nose, things around that area, and just put the chip through there as well. That's one means too. But again, just a speculative proposition of how the chip could have been there without, having incision on the head. Because that just may be how it could have been done. Esau just breaking the blood-brain barrier and then shoving it up in there. Just like that CV test back in 2021, 2022 predominantly. So anyways,
That last add-on, man. Who else was working the album? Who was working the material? Whoever was working the material that last add-on.
yeah, as I said before, she could have been an activist. You don't know what post she could have made, to which Esau was like, we've got to eliminate this one. So yeah, man, these are the times that we're living in. We can easily be targeted. That's why we need to, again, fortify ourselves with the spiritual weapons, man. Hold on. Because as we're protected by Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we don't need to fear these things. These are just many, just tools of which Yahweh Shem Yahushua has told us through the scriptures that they will fail. Now let me read this first before I get the other one. So 2 Corinthians 10:4, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushua, to the pulling down of strongholds. Whatever Esau believes that he has in terms of his strength of power and tools that he's been blessed with of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, it's really nothing. Because remember, as Paul said, the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but we have mighty weapons through the Most High Yahweh Shem Yahushua to the pulling down of strongholds, man. So of course, our weapons are mighty because they're spiritual. Prayer, fasting, the reasoning with the scriptures. This really puts us on a way higher level than Esau Edom. I wanted to get the word stronghold. So really, Esau only thinks via logic. We, on the other hand, we think on faith, and we think in terms of spirit, man. That's why we're over Esau. So let me play out the Greek word.
Strong's G 3794. Ahurama. Ahurama.
So Ahurama, the root word for stronghold, is a castle, stronghold, fortress. So whatever Esau's built for himself, a castle, stronghold, fortress, metaphorically speaking, which is really his system, and the ability to make people dependent on it, that will all be pulled down because of the weapons of our warfare, which is spiritual. And that involves prayer, fasting, of course, reasoning with the scriptures to enforce and build up our faith. That's how we have strength over Esau Edom. And we must always be in that mindset where we are over them. Despite how it looks in the flesh, it's inevitable that he will fall. So let me get this as well, because I said that his weapons, really, there's nothing that he can do to us, because we got Yahweh Shem Yahushua protecting us. But also, you got to remember this as well. For those of the world, Esau, Most High is allowed to have a hand on them. But for those of us in this truth, we believe in Yahweh Shem Yahushua protecting us and preserving us from all that shit, where we don't need to worry about that. Of course, we are aware, we don't play a fool, but we don't need to be over much worried about Esau targeting us, because we know in the spirit we're protected. And remember, this is why as well we don't need to worry. So Isaiah 19:14, the Lord Yahweh hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof. So about Egypt here, modern day America. And they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. You see? So all those works of mind control via the chip as well, that could have been that'll really, how can I say this? Cause Egypt to err in every work thereof. Well, what I was gonna say was it could have been a mistake on their end, maybe like a minor glitch, and that's what made that guy, to stab the woman. But generally, though, it's probably Esau, controlling him and saying and making him do that stuff, man. But the point is, caused Egypt to err, to be erroneous, to make mistakes, to be weak in every work thereof. So, whatever system Esau builds, it will fail. Whatever tools he uses, it will fail. Left hand side technology, whether that be that witchcraft and all that nonsense, or that weakness on the left hand side, it will be so. So we don't need to, it will be destroyed really, and it will be weakened, and there ain't nothing that he can do against us. Because we have Yahweh Shem Yashar protecting us. And even just to reinforce that further, let me get a few more precepts. Hold on. Proverbs 27 and verse 12. A prudent man foreseeth the evil. We're foreseeing it with all these technologies and these situations that are happening, the psychological operations that's going on currently, and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished, man. And we're not simple, we're not stupid. The scriptures give us wisdom to know how to apply knowledge. And this knowledge, of course, is based upon these scriptures, man. Now, a prudent man, which means one who really has foresight, foreseeth the evil. In fact, let's get root word for prudent. I'm just going to go straight to the meaning. So subtle, shrewd, crafty, sly, sensible. So of course, these are really words that pertain to being smart, quick-witted, and really just being wise in our actions, man. That's what shrewd really means. So, prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. And how do we hide ourselves? With the names, with Yahweh Shem Yahushua. The names Yahweh Shem Yahushua being the core of that. Because remember, the name of the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahushua is a strong tower. Let's get that. So Proverbs 18 and 10. Proverbs 18 and 10. The name of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. That's why we don't need to worry. And we actually got the names Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. We're not deluded as those of the world who call upon their idols, which they say God in ignorance, and they say Jesus Christ in ignorance. But we got Yahweh, the Most High, Allah Shadyab, the power almighty, demon-like power. And we got Yahushua, the Messiah, the one who will actually save us, the one who's our mediator. We got the actual real names. We're not in that deluded state. So therefore, we have confidence that we'll be fine against Esau's weak attempts. That's why we always got to be grateful as we pray. We say, Thou the Yahushai, for protecting us day by day, second by second, for guiding your footsteps as you go outside, as you come back, for also giving you the wisdom to reason. So, let me get this final precept. I'm going to close it out, man. This is Psalms 61 and verse 3. For thou hast been a shelter for me and a strong tower from the enemy. That's why we don't need to waver. So of course, in this truth, as you begin it, the Most High builds up your faith, builds up your strength and your confidence in him. But the point is, it will keep building. Of course, you go through those tests in order to help you build. That's why he makes you go through certain things, certain situations, to maintain faith in him. So that you then have full confidence that he, Yahweh Yahweh and Yahushai, are our shelter and our strong tower from the enemy. That's it. You got to fully believe that and know it as fact, because it is fact. So anyways, Akim, you can go on Apostle Tahar's channel, what is the 666 mark to GMS Truth. And obviously the name of the video is Can the MOTB make you do things you don't want to do? And the answer again is yes. So Shalom, Yabashim Shab Rakatha, Kahalaim La Yahabashim Yashabashim Rakudash, and once more, double honors to the great Muslim apostles.